Hello and welcome to another episode of the FPL Hangover podcast, where we raise the bar and lower the tone, all things FPL related. We would like to welcome you all back after a long and windy winter break. And speaking of long-winded, my podcast partner in crime, Seamus, how are you getting on, my friend?
Not too bad. Nothing long-winded about this intro.
Yes. Do you like how it emphasised your long-windedness by being short and succinct?
Yeah.
That just came to me in a fit of vodka and juice rage.
Yeah, and I am quite windy.
I just wanted to get straight back into this. It feels like forever since
it's been too long.
Yeah, it's crazy. With international breaks and all this stuff, I don't know, we usually get a pod out once a week. With this, there wasn't a point.
We could have done a pod per game almost. Like, this is like the game week like that never ended.
Yeah.
So we'd be doing a disservice for our listeners if we
did an episode last week.
Yeah. Nothing to do last week. But we did a disservice to our listeners if we dragged on that intro. So I'm glad you banged straight into it.
I was like, fuck this, let's get the show on the road. And you said it there. There's been, we could have nearly done an episode for fucking every game. It's been such a pace, but we're nearly done. But not quite there just yet. No, we're not quite there yet. We still have the Man City West Ham rearranged fixture to deal with. We're recording this on a Monday, what I believe is the 17th of February. Not too sure on that one. But it's a Monday, so we still have the Wednesday night match. So there's still balls in the air, if you will.
Yeah, if it was a Tuesday night game, we could have considered doing a later pod. But I mean, it's Wednesday. There's no point. We'll just have to plow on. So I still don't know if I've had a good week or bad week yet. Yeah,
it's a bit up in the air because your captain is Aguero, and I think that's the case for everyone who didn't have Salah captain, really.
You make it sound like there's more people that have captained him than actually have.
Aguero?
Yeah.
I think he's got like a 35% effective ownership.
Yeah, but I think his actual ownership is like 25%, so I think he's like a 10% of those guys, or like a third of his owners have captain.
I think it's hanging over my head because it really defines how well I can feel about my week as well. And I'm having a decent enough week. Like you said yourself, you don't know how to feel. You've got your captain still to play. I've had mine play. Did jack shit. I went with Salah. 3 points. Nothing. But pretty much everyone else, I think 7 out of 10 other players have returned for me. So all in all, I'm sitting at 60 points this game week so far. That's seeing me a good bit above the average. Now we obviously don't know what the average is yet, but I'm sitting nice and clean. And if Aguero does blank, then I think 60 is a pretty fucking good score for the week.
Yeah, the average at this particular point in time is 41, and depending on obviously how City do, that's going to come up some bit in auto subs and things like that. But I can't see the average being much more than, like, even if Aguero and De Bruyne and Mahrez or whatever kill it and get like 15-20 points each, I can't see the average being more than 50.
Yeah, I think the Aguero will be the one that kind of, maybe KDB, maybe we're overlooking him. If he kind of pulls out his classic double digit, then that's going to drag the average up a lot, but maybe not so much with Aguero. But it's still there. It's still hanging over our heads. The sword of Damocles is still.
I was going to say it earlier, but I was like, I'm going to balls up how you pronounce that, so I might.
Yeah, I took a risk on it. I think it is.
No, I think you've nailed it. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I was like, I'm not brave enough yet.
Yeah.
To throw that out
not
there.
After my
hanging over
your
head
kerfuffle that we had in the last episode.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Seamus. I had to bring it up again. But look, let's get down to the meat and potatoes of it. You are sitting on what currently, Seamus?
I am 20 points behind your 60. I'm on 40 with from 9 players. So just over 4 points per player, which is not that bad. You're looking between 4 to 5 points per player at the end of a game week. But it's all going to come down to my 2 remaining players, mostly Aguero, who is my cap. And I got the first part of my captain decision right, which was like, this could be a good week to bet against Mo Salah. Considering they're playing in after the winter break, I thought, you know what, they might be a bit rusty. He might be taken off after 60 or 70 minutes, which didn't happen. But I thought, maybe he might be a bit rusty and he mightn't be as sharp together, even though they were playing Norwich. Norwich, are notoriously leaky. But I said it was a good week to bet against him, guessing on his ownership.
It was a windy night.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't bank on the Man City game being called off. So I'm kind of lucky that it actually got rearranged this game week, because if I had him and De Bruyne sitting on the bench and I got what would have been Hayden and Stevens in, that's a whole lot of money benched. And you put your money into players you think are going to return big, and I definitely think that against West Ham, both of these players, if they play, the caveat is they could return big.
Yeah, I do think Pep Roulette has a something to be said for game week 26 before it's all said and done.
Yeah, the problem here is when I put the captain's armband on Aguero, the notion was that, well, he's not going to be benched before a winter break. They've got a week off afterward, or a week and a half off before their next game. Or so I was like, yeah, there's definitely, or they're going to have 2 weeks off. So I was like, I'm definitely going to want to. Yeah, he's definitely not going to rest him. It's a great opportunity to captain him. But now that they're playing on a Wednesday and they've got Leicester on the Saturday evening, I think, and then they've got another midweek Champions League game against Real Madrid, an important game, potentially one of their last few games in the Champions League, as it turns out.
Yes, there's been a lot of waves in the Man City ocean since we last recorded.
Wow.
And I mean, as you mentioned, the game postponement. I straight up, Seamus, I don't remember this really happening in a lot. I don't have a specific memory of a match being postponed within a game week and then played in the same game week. Do you?
No, I don't think it could have happened, because you always need to give about like a week to 10 days notice for fans traveling and policing and things like that. I mean, there's nothing to say that a game can't get postponed and rearranged for the following day. I mean, that kind of shit happens in like the Irish League and shit like that, or. But as you said, I think it happened in like League One there recently enough as well, like where a game got postponed and it was put back onto the Sunday game.
Yeah,
but when things are with TV, it gets a bit shady, So.
Exactly, there's going to be a lot of more fucking.
If I would say this, if I'd known that this game would have been on the Wednesday, this time I wouldn't have captained Aguero.
Yeah,
but I still hold out hope that if he starts, he could get a big haul.
And rightly so. I've nailed my colours to the mast before we even hit record tonight. I said that I don't think Aguero will start against West Ham. I think he'll play Jesus from the get-go against West Ham, and then he'll start Aguero against Leicester. And I think what we'll see against Leicester is going to be very similar to the team he's going to put out against Real Madrid. He's already talked about wanting to get a rhythm going. So that's my feelings, but as we said, it's Pep. Like, what the fuck does anyone know?
I wouldn't be surprised to see him get like 60 minutes in both games,
possibly,
or just starting the Man City against the West Ham game. And the thing about this, what we found with Liverpool is that after having a week off, they didn't really have that kind of click rhythm in place. That maybe that if against West Ham, Man City could be 0-0 at half time, and they can't afford to take people off after 60 minutes. So yeah, you never know. But
do you, like you mentioned, the Champions League there as well, and for anyone that's been living under a rock in the football world, City are currently suspended from the Champions League for the next 2 years and have been fined the guts of 30 million euros. And
starting next season. I mean, are they? I didn't actually hear about the fine, but
yes, 30 million euros, 25 million pounds, I think. And as I said, 2 seasons,
half a Mangala.
In fines, but they still have 6 days to appeal it, and that might be all different when we're recording for season 3 of the FPL Hangover. But as of right now, the league is looking pretty useless to City. Do you see that having a knock-on effect in FPL?
Yeah, well, that's something we've been asked about in the drunk tank, and we can look at it a bit later. But it does depend on how they respond, really, and it depends how Pep responds and how. I mean, you would think that there's going to be an appropriate amount of anger at the results here, but I mean, yeah, they're going to lawyer up. They're going to protest this and bring it to the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Europe, and that's the word of the street. And
so, as far as the FPL goes, you're basically just taking it 1 week at a time.
Yeah, I'm just focusing on now. I mean, I'm going to kind of look at this West Ham game and see how they respond, and see if they come out. They could come out angry. This next game week on Wednesday, or in midweek on Wednesday, and put 5 or 6 past West Ham, and we could be like, "Oh, you've angered the beast." Or they could come out and they could be just have like a reserve side out there and go, "Well, we're going to put all our eggs in the Champions League basket." Which we were talking about this before, even before this ruling. Would they do that anyway? Yeah. Seeing as they're so far behind Liverpool. So let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Exactly. And let's get into the thick of it. I mean, you said you got 40 points so far. Where are you getting your points from this week, James?
Yeah, it wasn't a terrible game week. I had a good, not a clean sweep in the back because Henderson is my goalie. Last week I had a clean sweep in the back, but I had Henderson in goals, and he only got 2. But I had Egan with 6 points. and he was my John Lundstrom replacement, who we all know went off and did a goal this week.
He did a goal.
It's only a 1 point difference. And I feel a bit more assured of Egan's starts going forward, so I'm happy enough with that. I wasn't even disappointed to see Lundstrom score. I was like, good for you.
Well, you've actually hit upon my low point of the week. Now, as I said, I've had quite a successful week so far, so there wasn't a whole lot to choose from. But I was definitely a bit miffed, especially because the Sheffield United match came so early in this game week that I believe it was the second match of the game week. It was on the Sunday, and yeah, seeing their clean sheet wiped out pretty much
was burst pretty quickly.
Yeah, it was burst pretty quickly, and we talked on this in the last episode. You'd be pretty sickened to be sitting there, and you said the one thing you didn't want to see was it wiped out inside the first 20 minutes. It was wiped out quickly, so I'm smug as a thug under a rug, and yeah. Lo and behold, before the first half is finished, Sheffield have pulled themselves level, and Egan gets a poxy assist.
Had you realised straight away? Did you watch the game?
I watched the game, and I didn't realise Egan had got the assist initially because it was such a clusterfuck in the box. Yeah, it was a scramble, and it wasn't until probably several replays, and I was going, "Oh my god, that's actually Egan. That's after teeing up." I don't even remember who scored it.
I think it was
Billy Sharp.
It was Billy Sharp.
And he scores goals, and John Egan gets assists. So I was a bit miffed at that, and it is a low point. Albeit I'm not too bitter about it because, as you mentioned as well, Lundstrom. He I don't even know. I'm still in shock even now. I'm thinking about it. I'm going, man.
It's a great finish.
It was a great finish, but it's the narrative that goal has led us to write in the FPL community is what I love, and I'm astonished by a little bit. It's like, okay, I don't know, and again, we discussed this before we hit record, but I don't think it changes much from what I've been saying in regards to Lundstrom's time on the pitch. I think his days are numbered, and I think this time next year it'll be Lundstrom who, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I think you could be right.
It was still a nice, kind of maybe final act twist.
I still think he's got minutes in him this season. I think if he doesn't start this next game week, he'll start the following one. I think if there was an immediate game week instead of a winter break, I think there's a good chance he'd start the next game. I think he's deserved a starting, to get his starting slot back. But
I think you might be right.
I guess Burge or whatever you call his name.
He's at home to Sheffield United are at home to Brighton in the next fixture. And as a Lundstrom owner, as you mentioned already, you've jumped off of Lundstrom for Egan on your wild card. I haven't had that luxury yet, and I will be starting him against Brighton for sure on my team. And I would hope he gets some minutes just as a kind of reward for the solid performances he's put in throughout the season and grabbing the winner in the last game. But then they come up against the plank. Gameweek 28, I can still make a cool 0.5 off him. Yeah. So my loyalty to having a ever present this season it's wearing thin right now. So I don't know. As if there are Lundstrom owners listening to this, and I'm sure there is, I'd still be standing by what we said last week.
That was our question. We were asked that question last week, and we both said, "Yeah, I think he's a sell." And
his goal has done nothing though, which is kind of the point I'm baiting.
Well, in our mini league, in that you made a point on me in that, but
no, I mean his goal has done nothing for my opinion of his prospects for the rest of the season. Whereas I saw a lot of people online kind of, he's back, baby. Lundstrom, he's done it again. I'm like, no. This is.
I'm with you.
This is a death groan. Do you know, like right after he's croaked, the gas is leaving his body. Unfortunately, I stand by what we said last week. But that was my low point was Egan, and you were talking about where your points were coming from this week.
That was 6 points there. Double Liverpool defence came in again.
I'm just glad you didn't go Robertson. I actually, for the first 40 minutes of the Liverpool match, I was going, this cunt has fucking Robertson now, and Robertson's like, on the edge of getting an assist and can give a double-digit haul any day. And then, like, before the end, I realised that, oh, no way, he went Van Dijk this time. Okay, grand. And then Robertson did, of course, got the 3 bonus points. So,
But, I mean, those 3 bonus points would have been stolen off him by Trent had Firmino just converted that late opportunity.
Yes, very much
so. Like, Trent is still the guy to own out of the two of them. Now, I would have liked to have Robertson, don't get me wrong, but I think, Van Dijk, as I said, the reason I got Van Dijk is...
Well, there's like 0.5 mil in the difference.
There's 0.5 mil in the difference, and at the time I got him after, I guess it was 24 game weeks of history, Van Dijk was scoring more than Robertson. As good as Robertson has been doing this season, Van Dijk he'll get goals. He'd have what, 3 goals a season, or had he had 4?
I don't know.
But whatever he'd had, he may not get assists, and he's unlucky not to get assists because he does that Alderweireld kind of long raking ball up forward. Now Henderson seems to be doing it a bit more this season, but Van Dijk has that in his locker too, so he will get an odd assist here and there, potentially before the end of the season. But he's all about the goals. He gets the goals, and they're getting clean sheets. He's getting 15 points.
He's such a threat from set pieces.
Yeah.
That I can completely understand Van Dijk. And personally, I'm happy to see Van Dijk be an option this year, because I was afraid at the start of the season that it would be very much a Robertson or Trent or both situation. And Van Dijk has, like he did last year, matched Robertson's output within, I think he's ahead of him now, but he had. There's not much between the two, so I get it. We got to
discuss Gomez as well. I mean, Gomez got 2 bonus points, and he's been racking up. It's since he's been reintroduced to the team that they've been so solid defensively.
Since he's come
back. Bit of luck involved. Let's not kind of get too taken away with.
There's luck involved in every game, but 10 clean sheets in the last 11.
Yeah.
there's more to that than luck. The more they train, the luck.
But you know what that is? Yeah. That's Alisson. Alisson is like, after they get through, that last line, get through the defensive line, they still are faced with Alisson, who's like the best keeper in the league at the minute. Like,
I don't know.
It's crazy. He's actually unbelievable.
I actually think he's a bit of a fucking idiot.
Why?
I don't know. As watching him, I just can't warm to him as a goalkeeper.
No, I'm the absolute opposite. I think he's he's performing as good or even better than De Gea was when De Gea was in his peak with United.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far. But we're not going to get stuck in an argument here.
No.
De Gea
I think he is by far the best goalkeeper in the world at the minute.
Fair enough. I would claim ignorance on the other 4 top leagues, but we do have to talk about Gomez. He is fastly becoming, I don't know, would you say differential now? Is he differential?
He's 5.3, but if you want to get into that, if you can't afford to get into double Liverpool defence and you're desperate to get in there, and that's a very easy kind of move from Lundstrom to him or something like that. You just got to find 0.8 as opposed to trying to find the money to go to Van Dijk or whatever. So I think I'm loving being on the Liverpool defence. I've only been on it 2 weeks now, and I really, really wish I was on it weeks earlier. But
10 weeks ago?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, 2 weeks in a row now, it's been paying off. I mean, even the double Sheffield United's paid off because I got a bit lucky with the Egan assist. But that's where my points have come from this week. So mostly in defence. I'll move on to the rest of my team.
There isn't a whole lot more points to go.
Grealish had 6 points. Could have had a lot more. Everyone has Grealish. You've Grealish. So there's not too much to say there, but what I will say is that Douglas Luiz should have scored to put Villa 2-0 up, and it could have been a completely different game.
Very much so.
In that instance, and that would have been Grealish's first assist. Obviously, he got the assist for Engels from the corner as well, and he would have got bonus. He was very close to bonus anyway. He just missed out.
Did he not
one.
Get back?
He got one.
Yeah, I was
You're
right.
Say,
he got one point, which I was very happy to see, because if you're going to list the 3 best players on the field on that day, Grealish was in there.
Yeah, I mean, Reina got 2 bonus points because he saved the penalty and made 9
savage,
saves. Yeah, he played excellent. But the 3 bonus points went to the player who was my low point of the week, which was that last minute Son goal. I mean, I think Son owners were very fortunate this week.
Well, he missed a penalty and then scored a rebound, and then scored in the 93rd minute.
He's on penalties. We didn't know he was on penalties. It could have very well been Alia that was on penalties, or Moura or someone like that. And we know Kane is obviously the normal penalty taker. But with Kane out on the pitch, I didn't know Son was the penalty taker. I'm pretty sure there's been times when I've owned Son that I've wanted him to take a penalty and he hasn't taken a penalty.
So what is your low point?
The last minute goal.
You just sick.
It was in 95 plus minute, and it was a fuck up from Engels. So that was obviously a low point because I'd stopped watching the game at that point. I had to go out and I was doing stuff, but I was looking at my phone and I was like, okay, it's an injury time. It's been injury time for a while now. Oh fuck, Son scored a last minute goal. And when I watched that in Match of the Day, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's the goal that they give away just because some fucking loser can't boot a ball away. I can do that shit, and I'm fucking shite at football.
You're not shite.
Well, I'm better than fucking Engels. I know that much now. Now I know I can play Premier League.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, just get rid of it. I mean, if you're going to control it. But you don't even have to. Hoof it. It's the last minute of the game.
He very much, it felt like he woke up that morning and said, I'm going to make a name for myself and I'm going to do everything I can.
I'm going to get my name.
He was the one to give away the penalty as well.
Oxford Dictionary for the definition of a mixed game.
Yeah, mixed game. Picture of Engels beside it.
Give away a penalty. Score a goal. make a fuck up that leads to a last minute equalizer. So it doesn't matter how well he played before that. You give a last minute fuck up away like that. But look,
say what you want. After the game, people definitely knew who Engels was.
Yeah. Well, Grealish was consoling him, and Grealish looks like a class. I want Grealish at United next season. I'm fucking saying it, man. He looks class. And as an Irishman, maybe we're not meant to like Grealish because he chose not to play for the Irish national team and rather would declare for England, but goddamn, he's fucking class.
Yeah, he's definitely making a bit of a name for himself this year, and even if Villa do go down, I fully expect Grealish to be in Fantasy Premier League next season. But you touched on your low point, being Son's goal. I do think there's a hint of bitterness about that. It's usually reserved for my low point, so I'm surprised there. But what was your high point this week?
My high point came in the Southampton game, for whom I also had Danny Ings scoring, but that wasn't my high point. So 7 points for Danny Ings. That's like the rest of my team didn't do too much other than that. My high point was the goal from Westwood. I looked like 2nd minute of the game. Westwood whips in a corner, straight in. You can't beat a goal direct from a corner, I'm afraid. Like call me old fashioned.
Well,
but like I love a goal from a corner. But to compound it with Danny Ings watching it, greeting it into
moving
the goal.
It out of the way.
He's like, I'm meant to be marking this front post, but no, I want this to go in.
Yeah,
and McCarthy looking just in goals, looking so confused as to why did you let that go in?
Yeah, why would you decide to move now? It's almost like you didn't. I mean, it's almost like you had McCarthy in a mini league rivals team, and you went, well, fuck this shit. The best time to concede a goal is straight away.
You've gone down the conspiracy theory hole, so
I have gone down that. I mean, obviously not. Obviously, I'm being facetious, but like I gave you shit about like Sheffield United conceding and losing goals pretty early on. I was probably as sickened to see McCarthy lose his clean sheet straight away there. I was like, for fuck's sake, I don't have that many differentials on him, and for it to be just completely wiped out directly from a corner.
But this is what happened to me in the Sheffield United game. Like, I don't know whether it's good to lose it straight away and go, well, look, you know what? Clean sheet's gone. Out. Instead of waiting 60, 70 minutes, sweating, getting heart palpitations and kind of going, should I be checking my phone? No, if I check my phone, that's bad luck. I don't know if you think like that. That's how I think.
I definitely don't think superstitious.
But I don't get superstitious until FPL gets involved. I'm not a superstitious man, but when FPL gets involved, I turn the light switch on and off 3 or 4 times. I turn around twice.
Have you ever walked under a ladder?
Only counterclockwise.
Fair enough. But
which I think we all agree is the right way to do it.
I mean, if you hadn't taken Danny Ings essentially scoring a goal for Burnley as your high point, I would have definitely been hard pressed to not have that as my low point. But my high point this week, Seamus, and just while we're on the subject, is again, it's a little bit outside the box. Didn't affect my team, didn't have him, and he's not really an FPL option. But I was delighted to see Wan-Bissaka get an assist today.
He's only an FPL option. No,
I disagree, and I think this is actually something in the drunk tank as well that might have come in that I will be touching on. I wouldn't think so, not at all. I have Martial, so that definitely was an advantage to.
So why are you saying this doesn't affect your high point? It was your high point because he got an assist, and for a guy that you have,
is my high point.
Yeah, but you said it wasn't affecting your decision because it wasn't in your team. He may not have been, but the guy he crossed it to score was.
That's a fair point. Fair enough. I guess I was maybe trying to be a little too subtle about it, but either way, just all the shit that's been coming out about Wan-Bissaka this year in terms of like, he can't whip a ball and he can't whip a ball, and don't get me wrong, it's completely deserved criticism, but to see him kind of knock that on the head a little bit, and for United to pick up a fucking much needed win tonight, and my player who was... I only have KDB and Martial left, so Martial being the only one that's actually a bit of a differential, picking up a goal, no bonus points unfortunately. It was an easy high point for me.
Absolutely. So you were kind of delighted. It was your high point more so because you were just happy for Wan-Bissaka to prove the naysayers wrong?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a lot of returns this week. I had 7s across the back. Yeah. I had Ings, Grealish, as you said, I had Aubameyang. That was another one. He scored a goal this week. There was a lot of kind of 7 out of 10 attacking returns so far, so it was hard to pick what's my actual high point, because it's not like my captain did a whole fucking lot. But Wan-Bissaka kind of maybe hopefully shaking that monkey off his back, and we will get into whether he is an option now later on in the episode, but hopefully shaking that off his back. And you could see Martial was almost more delighted for Wan-Bissaka to be the one to whip the ball in than he was to score, and peach of a goal.
A rare smile from Martial. No, I was delighted to see it as well. I mean, we know he hasn't, as you said, he's got a lot of criticism for his delivery this season, but he's a great player. And his final ball is going to... But he's so young. What is he, 21? Is he maybe 22 now? I don't know. But he's going to improve. And look, that's something that will come.
Yeah, exactly. So before we move on, Seamus, have you anything else you'd like to address from your team in Game Week 26 thus far?
No, but the players that blanked for me so far were Salah, who kind of everyone has, but they had him as captain. I did not. My Wolves players, Traore and Jimenez. Jimenez was super unlucky not to get a goal because he had at least 2 good chances to score headers. One header anyway, at least. And especially at the very, very end. That was almost my low point, where he had a clear header from a corner, last kick of the game, and he put it wide, and he wasn't challenged. So, yeah, there was opportunities for him to score, but I think he's going to be a player who's going to be important to him. And I was disappointed to see Traore bench, but when he came on, he looked good, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have a really appetising Game Week 27 fixture against Norwich, and no blank in Game Week 28. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot of investment in the Wolves' assets this week, and that's something I'm going to be looking at myself. And I suppose it's as good a time as any, Seamus, to break this down a little bit further. Let's hit the drunk tank.
Alright, lots of questions in the drunk tank this week. It looks like people missed us not being on last week, Ger.
Yeah,
the week hiatus has...
I think everyone's just got is detoxing. They're Jones and Hard, man, for some FPL podcasting.
Oh man, yeah. Last week I was like searching for like listening to podcasts I'd never listened to before. Just was like, someone give me some FPL knowledge.
Yeah. And there was none, and everything that came out, this isn't a jibe at anything, but everything that came out was a bit gimmicky. And I was like, man, I missed some fucking analysis and breakdowns and stuff like that. So that's another reason why, I was fucking happy to record tonight. Get this shit on the road again.
Yeah, and the first question we have is from Tom Moriarty, who says, wonderful to have you back, gentlemen. Life hasn't been the same without you, which is as effusive of praise as we've ever had, I think. So he's straight into it. Hold Sergio Aguero this week away to Leicester, or get in Jimenez versus Norwich. He already has Traore in midfield already. So, no, small bit of kissing, cuddling, but straight into it then.
Yeah.
Should he hold Sergio this week away to Leicester, or just move straight on to Jimenez?
So not one for the 4 plays, what you're getting at, James?
Not much.
Straight in. I can respect that. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to have to wait before I can comment to the Wednesday game.
Yeah.
Tom. If he starts on Wednesday against West Ham, then... yeah, maybe that might be a good move because maybe he's going to be benched against Leicester and just get a few minutes, or maybe he'll get reduced minutes. But if he's benched on Wednesday, then I think he's definitely going to be playing against Leicester, so I'd hold him. It's very hard to sell Jimenez, or not Jimenez. I think Jimenez is a great person to have in your team, and I definitely want him. But sell Aguero for Jimenez, that looks like the sort of move that could you could sell Jimenez.
Well, I think
sell Aguero, and Aguero bangs in 2 goals, and then Jimenez.
Well, if you look at it, Aguero is against Leicester, who are in the top 4, and then goes into a blank.
The question is the blank in Game Week 28.
So regardless of what he does this week, I'm sure there are going to be people thinking of getting rid of Aguero, and him. If you don't have Jimenez, that Norwich fixture, man, is looking tasty. Even away to Wolves, or away to Spurs in Game Week 28.
But a cautionary tale, Ger, because this is the exact same dilemma I had, and I think you had, and many other managers had, only I think back in Game Week 23, where Wolves were playing Southampton, and everyone wanted Danny Ings, who was in better form, and Jimenez hadn't done much in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And everyone was planning on getting rid of Jimenez the following week against Liverpool. And everyone moved a week early and got rid of him against Southampton, where he duly banged 2 goals and then scored against Liverpool. Now, he's not going to score in this blank Game Week 28. We know that because he haven't got a fixture. But remove Aguero a week early at your peril. That's what I'm thinking. Just based on that Jimenez lesson that I learned where I lost 13 points.
Your lesson involves Jimenez scoring goals.
Yeah, but if Jimenez can punish owners for selling a week early... imagine what Aguero can do.
But if you were getting Aguero out for Jimenez, does that not completely cancel out your hypothesis, Seamus, thus rendering you redundant?
You're right.
Next question. No, I miss.
You're right. So it's the equivalent of 4 goals. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess based on that logic, which is not flawed in any way,
Not at all.
you should definitely do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be in if I was in Tom's shoes and he's looking at Aguero to Jimenez, and I assume that's what he would do in game week 28 anyway. Even though I know Spurs isn't as appetizing as Norwich, it looks like maybe long term that's what the wiser move is. Then I would do that in the game week 27.
There's a very good chance I bring in Bolly against Spurs. Spurs aren't that great recently. They're picking up results for some reason, but
that's my point. So you are going to see people shipping out Aguero in game week 28 because of the blank. Yeah. So they're going to be looking at reliable strikers, and if you look at Wolves, they've got after the Spurs match in game week 28, they've got Brighton, West Ham, and Bournemouth. That's pretty solid fixtures as well. So he looks like a solid option. If you're going to jump on in 28, are you not thinking, fuck it, go 27? Norwich. At home.
I would normally, because Man City away to Leicester is not an easy game.
Yeah.
So I can totally see the logic behind it. But as I said, the cautionary tale is what happened to me with the Wolves Southampton game, where I sold him a week earlier than I was going to, just because he hadn't done anything in a while. So wait until at least the Wednesday game, Tom, and see what happens. If you think that, if you see that Aguero's been rested and he's going to start against Leicester, Leicester got their ass handed to them the last time they played Man City, and Leicester have not been playing very well lately. So let's see how Man City are. If Man City have reacted really positively to this, what's the word? Ruling. Yeah, this shunning from UEFA, then maybe they'll react with a bit of anger and bank a load of goals past West Ham and do the same to Leicester, because they are more than capable of beating Leicester 4-0.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how that match goes. But either way, Tom, best of luck with that.
I think you do need Jimenez this week. I'm not sure who else is in your team, Tom. If there's somebody else you can bring out instead to get to Jimenez, because I think Jimenez is the player I would be bringing in this week. It's just, I'm not sure. I don't think I can endorse selling Aguero.
Well, what we've got, Seamus, here is a case where if this isn't touched upon before we finish the drunk tank, I've got a couple of questions I need to ask, and it kind of relates to this a little bit, but we'll stick a pin in it till then. Next question.
Next question's from FPL Chieftain. He says, how badly are you sweating on Aguero, Seamus, and considering the three at the back shot the lights out for you both, would you consider going 4 at the back in the next few game weeks? So the first part is aimed directly at me and how much I'm sweating on Aguero here on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm kind of a bit more nervous now. I mean, as I said, when I made the decision to captain him, it was thinking he was going to have a whole week off after the game. So
I'd like to think I've made you a little bit
nervous. You have made me a bit more nervous. Coming over to this game, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm 75% convinced he's going to play it. And now it's I'm 60-40. So I'm sure by Wednesday afternoon, it's going to be 40-60.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll be shitting yourself. You're going, he's not going to play. He's not going to start. What
but see, I think if he doesn't play, I don't know if I agree with you. I think if he doesn't start, he doesn't play. I think they're, unless they're losing or drawing to West Ham, I think he just stays on the bench if they're 2 or 3-0 up, and he just gets his 90 minutes against Leicester. I don't know why he'd have to play both games.
Because he's been off in fucking Dubai driving jeeps or whatever the fuck he's been doing. So what Pep's thinking, at least how I'm reading the situation, is that Pep's going to want to warm those Aguero legs up a little bit. So if I'm Pep, I'm giving him 10 minutes on against West Ham. Then I'm giving him the match against Leicester. Hopefully I get to whip him off 20 minutes before the end, and he's ready for Real Madrid midweek. But again, I don't want this whole episode to revolve around it, because I know I'm just armchair managing right now, which is a little frustrating. But that's how I'm seeing the situation, and hopefully next week I can look back at this and go, yeah, Seamus, see how I call that motherfucker?
See, they've got a week off. They haven't got 3 or 4 weeks off. It's not like a summer break. I don't think they need to be broken in that gently. One game is to warm up is plenty before a Champions League game. Personally, that's me.
Yeah, if you were playing a Champions League game, maybe 1 is enough, but maybe Aguero needs a little bit more. Who's to say?
He's not as professional as you or I.
Yeah, exactly.
What I will say is, let's address the second part of his question, Chieftain's question, where he's saying, look, we both had 3 defenders at the back this week, and we both had clean sweeps across those back 3. Mm-hmm. Would we consider going 4 at the back in the next few game weeks? I know personally, I definitely would consider it, and it is something I have been considering, because I have obviously played my wildcard recently, and my team is at present, I'm benching Stevens against Aston Villa at home this week, which kind of feels like I should really be playing that guy.
well, you have McCarthy as well, but you're choosing.
But I'm
to
benching
go,
him too.
That's what I'm saying. You're choosing to go Sheffield United double defense again. Which is fair enough.
I'm playing double Liverpool. There's no doubt about that when they're playing. No question about that when they're playing West Ham at home.
But that kind of leads into what King is saying in terms of forward to back, in the sense that double Liverpool defense is very much a valid option, and you've jumped on that already. So I think if I'm going forward to back as a solid formation for every single week, then it's only going to be because I have double Liverpool.
Yeah.
And that's going to be straight. Like, if I have double Liverpool, then it's forward to back. Maybe 3, depending on whatever way the fixtures line up. But if I don't have double Liverpool, I'm still probably sticking with 3. But that's me. I just like attackers.
So I've got double Liverpool. I'm going to play Henderson in goals in game week 27, who are playing Brighton, who've been doing terrible lately. I'm going to play Egan as well. I'm going to double up, and I'm going to just put my balls at
the assist machine.
Yeah, I'm just going to put my balls in and go, look, if I'm backing Henderson, I'm going to back Egan.
Would you say you're putting your balls at all?
No, I'm putting my balls in the line.
Hit it.
But then, as I said, that means like I'm going to bench Lascelles. Newcastle are against Crystal Palace away. Crystal Palace, like, I could play 5 at the back this week, but like I've got to decide who I'm going to bench. So like I'm not going to bench Grealish, who's against Southampton this week. Grealish has been unbelievable. He could pull out like a double-digit point haul there. So I can't bench Grealish. And what I'm going to do, bench Traore against Norwich? Like, I can't. Can't. So, I mean, like, I'm not going to bench Ings. I'm not going to bench Aguero. So, it basically means I'm going to have to play this particular week 3 at the back. And in game week 28, when I've got the blank, I'll be playing 4 at the back. But that's just through necessity.
So you're thinking you're sticking with 3 at the back, even though you have the double Liverpool.
I'm thinking I might bench boost this week in a small manner. I'm kind of thinking, man, you know what? I could bench boost this week, but I'm probably not going to.
I don't want to get bogged down on chips too much, but have you set up a strategy? Like, saying that I might bench boost this week kind of indicates that you're a bit loosey-goosey with that chip. You have no plan for it?
No, not yet. Not until games have been... I'm kind of thinking, like, it's a really good option this week to do it, but there's also a really good option in game week 29. Yeah. And by game week 29, we might have a better idea of, like, which teams are through to the next round of the FA Cup and who's likely to blank in game week 31 and who may have a double in, like, 37 or 34 or blanks 34. So, like, that all has to be played out. So, the conservative in me is going to hold on to the bench boost for that. But, like, part of me is kind of going, man... If a good bench boost is 16 points, 4 points per player on your bench, then, you know, all that you need is one good player to return. So, you know, I should play in a single. I don't know.
And just to narrow it down a little bit before we move on to FPL Chieftain's question, first of all, I would like to also tip my hat to FPL Chieftain for his description of me in his last episode. And I mentioned this to you.
We never commented on it at the time.
No, it was post episode 70. But... Intergalactic Spacecraft Haulier. It stunned me to the point where I paused the podcast and the person sitting next to me in work was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "No, I'm just mulling something over my head." And then I went, "You know what? That's probably the most accurate fucking description I've ever heard in my life." And
I think your own father would describe you in that manner.
As a spacecraft trucker. So yeah, with that, fair play to you. But again, just narrowing it down, Chief, if I was looking at 4 in the back, it's only because I've got a double defense somewhere. I'm still all about the trees. I think there's a lot of value to be had with cheap defenders right now. It's been that case this season. And unless I'm doubling up Liverpool, I'm sticking with my tree.
Yeah,
because I'm investing the money then, you see, in the double Liverpool. But otherwise, I've got the guts of 2 mil that I'm able to turn a 5th midfielder or a 3rd striker into an actual playing option. Yeah. So that's where I'd leave that, James.
I'm not even listening to you right now. I'm just singing Space Trucking in my head right now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Deep Purple, bro. Deep Purple.
Come on.
But question number 3, Seamus. We're fucking
quality shout, Chieftain. Yeah. So I am definitely thinking of 4 at the back, but present post wildcard, I just have too many options I can't bench.
While you're dragging that up, let me ask you one, and don't get bogged down in it too much. But
okay.
Are you happy you used your wildcard? If Aguero blanks this week, and say you end up on mid-40s, are you regretting using a wildcard so early? Because I know a lot of people.
I got a like last game week was my. It was either my 2nd or 3rd best game week of the season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was like a direct follow-on, so I know that nailed it. But like, I guess what I'm
But
looking
I like
at
the
is
setup. I like the set. I like as it is stands this week. I've got 2 free transfers, 0.3 in the bank, and I don't know who I want to make. I'm probably going to burn a transfer this week. There's no
you're
one I
never
want.
going to burn a transfer. That's madness.
This is as close to me burning a transfer as I've ever been.
We've discussed this, Seamus, and if you burn a transfer, then I will cancel this whole goddamn podcast.
We could be cancelling this podcast. There's no one else I need. The only move I can make is the move that you call schmucky, I think.
I don't know if I ever used that word, but I'm interested to see what you're going to say.
I may be taking libations here.
Artistic license.
Artistic license here. But where I'm thinking I might go Salah to Mane. That's the one move I'm thinking of.
It's not schmucky if it's up against burning a transfer. I'd rather do that than burn a transfer. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't know. I'm thinking that. I mean, the other thing I could do other things like I could do Stevens to Bolly, but then like I'm not even planning on playing Stevens, so I'm not going to play Bolly either.
So that's going to give you a headache as well.
Yeah, so that means I got to decide I'm benching Egan. So I like there's kind of moves I can do there. There's nothing I really need or want to do. So
I'm looking forward to next week's episode when we see what you actually managed to do in the end.
I think if I make a transfer out of stubbornness and out of like I can't burn a transfer, I will fuck up my team in a bad way. Fair enough. I'm thinking I should just burn the transfer and just be done with it. That's what I'm thinking.
We'll see. I'm sure depending on what you do, I will have a whole thing about this.
Yeah, so I think like my team is set up perfectly. So to answer your question, no, I don't regret playing my wild card. I like it's brought me into the top 100k.
I'm just seeing a lot of people talking about, oh, I'm so happy I still have my wild card because all of the fixtures are still to be announced. As you said yourself there, we need to know more about FA Cup and Liverpool getting through in the FA Cup. When I was like, oh, there's a few more options now. Yeah. Whereas I think if Liverpool had got knocked out, which is what was expected, it would have been maybe a little bit more cut and dry.
Look, last year I waited and I played it later when the double game weeks were announced, and that's why I'm thinking of doing my bench boost, just purely because I think it's good to play your bench boost close to your wild card while people are playing. But no, I don't regret it, and I think I can make ground on players and then just use my my manager prowess in the later parts of the season to make good moves, hopefully. But I'm kind of at a point where I don't know what to do now. Okay, well look, next question is from FPL Rogue. And he's asking, if you could navigate Game Week 28 and maybe Game Week 31 with a near-complete playing 11, including possibly 2 enablers, thus guarding your chips for a potential double game weeks coming 34 and 37, which is still to be confirmed, is it recommended or is that overall rank suicide? So basically, a lot of people are talking about using their free hit chip in Game Week 31, but if you can get to Game Week 31 with nearly a complete 11, maybe getting to 9 players, maybe 10 players, using a couple of enablers there to get there. Do you think saving your bench boost, or not your bench boost, saving your free hit would be worth it? Or saving your wild card in some cases?
Yeah, I think if you think you can, I mean, like, as I was kind of hitting at there are options. There are cheap defenders out there. Like, we look at this week, in terms of just the shift in forward template and how that's kind of gone. Like Vardy, he's fast becoming a thing of FPL past so far this season. So I mean, shit is shifting a bit right now. It'll be interesting to see what way the landscape is come Game Week 31. But I'm always a fan of holding off until the end. At least that way you get to splurge on them a little bit. You get to kind of feast on your chips for a few fucking game weeks. You're like, yeah, this is this is bumper season, kind of way. What about you?
It only really works as an option for me. I definitely think that is definitely an option, but it only really works if Liverpool go out to Chelsea. So if they play their kid side and they get knocked out by Chelsea, then it's definitely a good option. But if Liverpool are true, then no, I wouldn't be doing it. So there's too many permutations in the air, really. So, I mean, yeah, definitely if Liverpool are true, then triple Wolves and triple Liverpool will get you 6 players. A few players here and there, you could have 8, you could have 9. Yeah. And I think 8 or 9 is fine to go in with. I'd nearly rather play 9 players and have triple, like the same Liverpool players. And you're going to be captaining a Liverpool player in that case, in that sense. If Liverpool aren't in there, everyone's going to be captaining Wolves player, probably Jimenez or someone like that. So, let's see what other games get announced and confirmed yet. I definitely think you could get away with that. Game Week 31, that's a bit too far down the line. It's hard to say with certainty there as well, but it looks like that's going to be a big blank as well.
Yeah. it's nice to know that FPL Rogue he's an eager beaver. He's thinking that far ahead.
Yeah, I think you can just lose out on points by focusing too much on now. Yeah, sorry, Gameweek 28 was the other one. Sorry, not 31. So 28 is the one where, you can easily navigate that. I mean...
Oh, yeah, I'm not worried about 28. I mean, you should be able to... I mean, it's literally like 2 game weeks away.
Yeah,
so
I have a decision to make whether I sell Grealish, KDB, Aguero, and I've obviously...
Well, what I'm thinking is, drunk tank wise, once we wrap this shit up, we're gonna look at the blank game week 28 a little bit, because I mean, you don't want to be talking about this next episode, because at that stage people are going to need to be making shapes.
Yeah.
So I think we'll look at this a little bit, because I have some questions about my team. I want to run by you and see what you think. But Rogue, you're on top of the ball there, fucking racing towards game week 31.
Yeah, and FPL Cedars, which is at Cedars FPL on Twitter, actually kindly answered that question from him, and he recommends that in his end. He said he would rather play with 9 than take a hit or more to have a squad of 11. I don't think there's anything problem with taking a hit, as long as it's somebody you're bringing in for more than one game week, by the way. But it depends if they're good. I'm not going to take a hit to bring in fucking Charlie Taylor or something like that,
No, but as he said, I mean, I think -4 on a blank week like that, then it's usually justifiable, depending on what the team is set up before, like.
Yeah, and Didi, who's at Leffy78A, he's welcoming us back as well. He says, not a fan of the winter break. Seems like the game week is 27 years old. Amen to that.
We missed you too, Didi.
Yeah, I agree with those sentiments. He goes, I hope your team did better than mine. Shite week, but managing to hold my lofty position in my mini leagues. Owing to everyone else also doing crap. Have to get Son back. Your thoughts? So Son.
Son, yeah.
Owners are incredibly lucky, or he's scoring even while they're playing bad, so wait until they're playing good and he's going to have monster hauls. What do you think?
Looking at Spurs fixtures, away to Chelsea, home to Wolves, away to Burnley, at home to Man United, and away to West Ham. Now, with the exception of West Ham being pretty tasty, and I know an away to Burnley match could be fine, I don't know how much I fancy Spurs' chances against a Chelsea that really need a fucking result, and I think have a better team than Spurs, or at least have the potential to outplay Spurs at the very least. Wolves won't be an easy match. I'd give Wolves the edge in that if you were to ask me right now. And Man United can go either way as well. So 3 out of the next 4 matches for Spurs, considering how they played against Villa, they played pretty shit against Villa. Like, let's not pretend because they beat Villa and scraped against, I think it's 3 wins on the bounce now for Spurs, and scraped it past Norwich 2 weeks prior to that. These were very, very lucky and not indicative of how Spurs played on the day. So I'm watching it, and there's players out there with Ali. I had Ali myself, jumped off him maybe 3-4 game weeks ago. Son, out of position option at the moment. He's playing essentially as like the first man forward for Spurs. So he is taking those boxes, but for the 9.5 or whatever he is now, 9.7, that you have to put out for him.
Son is 10.
Is he 10?
Son is 10, 10.0. Yeah, no.
Okay. Well, that kind of even strengthens my point even more. I'm just not looking at him. I'm not looking at Son at all. What about you?
I've missed the boat. I wish we had different opinions of this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can
I've missed the boat.
He
scored 4 goals in his last 3 games. He was somebody I considered a few weeks ago. Didn't really know he's on penalties. Look.
That he missed.
Yeah, his 2 goals today were incredibly lucky. He missed the penalty. The fact he didn't create that chance himself. Bergwijn won the penalty with VAR's assistance. That wasn't even given in normal time. So he got a VAR penalty, missed it, scored the rebound, because basically the new rules mean that you can't encroach in the box or they'll just make you take it again. So that gives an advantage to the striker for the rebound.
Because he's already in the box.
Yeah, and Peperina's given out and he's kind of going like, oh, why? How come no one got in there? It's like, because we can't get in there.
Well,
if you push it straight back,
was in there.
Yeah, but as I said, Son was even further ahead. So Son was the guy who scored there. So, I mean, if you push it straight back towards the guy who took the penalty, they're always going to have the advantage. They're like 3 or 4 yards ahead. Anyway,
I mean,
I don't want to get bogged down in that.
But
and then a fuck up at the very end, where it was great finish by Son, and great pace from him and everything like that, and composure to actually finish it off. But that's very lucky 13-point haul for his owners.
Yeah, I agree.
And
so
I just feel like
all,
I'm going to take out game week 31 because it's 5 game weeks away, right? I'm just going to look at the next 4, okay? Because maybe I might consider Spurs in game week 31.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If you're looking at game week, the next 4 game weeks, arguably their hardest games in that run is Wolves and Burnley. Burnley are playing really well recently. They're like, what have they won? They've got as many wins as Man United.
Yeah, that's not saying a whole fucking
and
lot.
That's after them beating Chelsea. But it is for Burnley. Like Burnley are...
Burnley were playing really shit before the run, and they have picked things back up again.
They picked up a lot of points in the last 4 or 5 games.
They're still not either defensively or attacking sound. Do you get me?
Defensively, they're a lot more sound than they were.
Yeah, I mean, compared to shit, they're less shit for sure. But like, they still conceded multiple chances to Southampton at the weekend.
Problem is, now they're safe. You're thinking, when a team is safe, do they just like take the foot off the accelerator and the other team kind of go forward? I don't know.
We are entering that stage of the season where we're going to start talking about what teams are at the beach.
On the beach and
whatnot. But yeah, I'm not too convinced. Yes, they picked their socks up a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but I'm still not convinced. I'd be less convinced of Spurs though.
At Turf Moor. Spurs at Turf Moor in game week 29. I don't see too many goals in that. Maybe there'll be a goal or two. The game against Wolves, they're at home in game week 28. That's a tough game. Chelsea, I think Chelsea is probably the easiest of the next 4 games. At home to Man United will be a tough one as well. Although United are shit away from home. But United play well against bigger teams, we'll say the top 4.
United will play well against Mourinho anyway. Yeah. They'll want to win that. But look, I'm going to say something at you in relation to this question, and I want you to give me a straight up answer, Seamus. I don't want you beating around the bush anymore. One word, Bergwijn.
Him.
Is he an option ahead of Son?
Ahead of Son? No.
Price wise,
no.
You don't think the difference?
If you're going for if you want to go in on a Spurs asset, go for Son.
Yeah, so
simple.
Spend an extra 2.5 million.
Yeah. And that being said, I'd even go Ali ahead of him. But Bergwijn did impress this week. He would have had the assist for the penalty if he had converted it first time. He looked very lively. He's playing where Son used to play, which the thing I like about him is it allows Son to play centre forward.
Yeah, well,
because Son was playing on the left. And now Bergwijn is playing on the left, so that puts Son centre forward with Ali just behind him, and they drop and they change. So I mean, Ali could have had a couple of goals.
If this week, like for example, I'm sitting on Martial, right? Now I'm not saying I would instantly do a Martial to Bergwijn move, but I know that I have that space in my team price structure wise that I'm not going to rip up to get a 10 million Son in, but I might consider taking a punt on a Bergwijn that's looked pretty energetic in these 2 matches.
Yeah, it's not a bad point. He's like maybe I'm being a bit too negative about him. He's not a bad option, but I think if I'm going to bet on Spurs, I'm going to bet on Son. Why would I bet on somebody else other than Son?
Don't have 2 million.
Yeah, that's true. But I think I'd just hold on to Martial at that point.
Yeah, again, I didn't want to limit it to one specific player, but I am just kind of, you're always looking for little options, and I think Bergwijn is continued on from a good performance.
Yeah, good. He does look like a good player, but like their fixtures aren't amazing.
No, they're not.
So you're going to go for a talisman in that team, and that's Son.
Yeah, and I am trying to just play a little bit of devil's advocate, but as we both said at the start of that question, I'm not looking at Spurs at all, DD.
But not essential, DD, because as I said, I just feel like I've missed the boat, and this has happened to me so many times where I have gone in on Son late and I've missed the points and I've just only picked up his red cards.
But to be fair, Seamus, you've also gone in on Son early and picked up some points because I've definitely cursed you for that.
Yeah, well, I was, as I said, a couple of weeks ago when I was doing my wild card, I considered going on him and I was like, maybe not. And I bet against him and I kind of regret it now. So, yeah. Take from that what you will, Didi. Next question. Moving on. FPL Rossi. At FPL_Rossi. What are your views on City players? With the league done and dusted and no Champions League to play for, will Pep now just concentrate on the cup competitions, and does KDB now become a major rotation risk? Now, I think this is, I could be speaking out of line here, Rossi, but are you thinking of going KDB to Son as well? Because they're similar price brackets, you know. I know I've seen a lot of people who've moved from KDB in the last couple of weeks to Son, and I don't like seeing them rewarded. I want to see KDB coming back with a monster haul this week against West Ham, because I feel like they're being cheeky gits.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, you can't talk much. You're the one that got rid of KDB at the start.
I'm not getting rid of him now.
Yeah, exactly. So you're already biased in terms of your answer here, and we've kind of touched on the situation at Man City a bit in this episode already. I don't know how, like in terms of KDB, for the price I got him in at 9.5, and for the price that I'd imagine most people like got him in under 10 anyway, he's still to make me want to get him out. Do you get me? Like he's still the focal point. You talk about talisman, the big T. He's still just such an influential part of Man City that for a player less than 10 million, I'm gonna have to see a serious amount of blanks before I consider getting him out. Champions League wise, yeah. I mean, that's still up in the air. Like, as you kind of heard when we were talking about Aguero being captained this week and what's going to happen against Leicester. I honestly don't know rotation-wise, Seamus. Like, have you got any major insights there?
Well, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. Like, this time next week, we'll have a better idea because we'll have seen 2 Premier League games and we'll have seen the Champions League game. Well, actually, no, the Champions League game won't have happened by this time next week, but we'll have seen the 2 Premier League games. We'll have a better idea. But the thing about City in the Champions League is that I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they're obviously appealing this court decision. It's 2-year ban from UEFA Champions League. I can't see them getting more than 1 year.
Yeah, but we're not going to get bogged down in any of that.
But like, assuming, like, I was thinking, they'll be banned next year, but it'll be overturned the following year. But now I'm thinking it's very likely that because they're appealing it, and this is going to take so long for their case to be heard, they'll probably be in it next year. And if they do get a 1-year ban, it'll be the following year. That's what I'm thinking. And
I
also,
I'm throwing that kind of assumption around the place that just because they're appealing it, they'll be in it next year. That's I can't argue.
I love throwing around just random
I know you do. You've literally made 71 episodes of it. But now that we're in episode 72, Seamus, we have to take this shit seriously. We've crossed the line now, okay? But in regards to City, you have to take it for what it is right now. They're not in the Champions League next year. And when that changes, then we'll talk about it.
But what if they win the Champions League? The defending champion has to defend it.
Yeah, well, exactly.
No, I don't think so, actually. I imagine if they're banned, they're banned.
They're banned regardless of.
So that's why I'm thinking, like, it would be hilarious if they won it and then they had this whole precedent.
I think, like, going back to what comment you made earlier on about before this Champions League kerfuffle even came into existence, we were already talking about the gap between Liverpool and Man City. So we're already talking about the league is pretty much meaningless now. I'm still playing that kind of mind frame. I'm going to wait and see what their attitude is in the league a little bit longer and see what effect that has. See how the first leg goes in the Champions League match. But don't be getting KDB out right now. At least that's where I'm coming from.
I think I'm going to keep KDB, Rossi, and I think I'm going to get rid of Aguero in Gameweek 28. I'm going to keep him for 27. I think I'm going to get rid of him in Gameweek 28 for Vardy. Even though Vardy's been in shocking form. I could get rid of him for Aubameyang, but he also blanks in 28, so just that kind of seems pointless. I could obviously do it in preparation for Game Week 29, but I think Vardy is the obvious one in Game Week 28, and just stick with KDB. I don't think I want to get rid of both of them, and I think KDB is more fundamental. I think Jesus is the obvious replacement for Aguero, but there's no obvious replacement for KDB.
Fair enough. And how are we coming, James? How many more questions have we got?
I think we have one more question. 1 second now.
All right. Because this night is flying. This episode is just fucking baiting through the roof so far. It's a bit mental.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Last question came from Sheehan FPL. What's more of a priority to do this week? Dominic Calvert-Lewin to Jimenez, or hold and have 2 free transfers to Game Week 28? So he's got Dominic Calvert-Lewin for Everton this week, who are
against
playing Arsenal
yeah.
and go to Jimenez, or should he hold and have 2 free transfers for the following week?
I'd probably just do the move to Jimenez right now because Everton are blanking in. Are Everton blanking?
No, Everton are playing.
They're playing Man United though. Yeah. So might as well be blanking because United are just gonna completely crush them. Everton have Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, and Liverpool in the next 4. So yeah, I guess Everton aren't too appealing to me. I know coming off the back of a goal and assist that Calvert-Lewin got this week. So you're pretty happy if he's sitting in your team. It's tough to get rid of someone who just got you a double digit. But I'm all for Jimenez. I think he, as you said already, should have got more than a goal against his Game Week 26 opponents. But Game Week 27, Norwich, I just can't see him coming out of that with a blank. I'm all about Jimenez.
That's a paddling. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm pro that move. Do it this week. I wouldn't wait. I don't think Calvert-Lewin is going to do too much against. Who do we say? Arsenal, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do too much against Arsenal. Everton are away, and Everton have been very, very poor away. Arsenal are generally better at home anyway, and seem to have maybe their tails up after putting 4 past Newcastle.
Yeah.
They struggled against Newcastle for large parts, especially in the first half. But once they got the first goal,
pretty much just the first half. They pretty much came out second half a different team.
Well, Newcastle collapsed after they gave away the first goal. It was that new right back guy they had, Lazaro. Didn't bother jumping for just gave Aubameyang a free header for some reason, and then got nutmegged by Sacco and gave up a goal 2 minutes later. He had a shocking 3 minutes.
He did.
But seems to be taking set pieces, so I don't know much about him. I'm going to watch him a bit more. But
I had him in FIFA 19, and he's fine.
Yeah, but he was kind of playing in a wing back role, and
no, I had him as just a normal full back, right back.
Oh yeah, well he basically was kind of at fault for the first 2 goals, and then Newcastle just collapsed.
Between himself and Engels, they were really battling for biggest dickhead of the week.
So it will depend on is that Arsenal being excellent now, and is this the results that's going to turn around their season, and they're the team you want to be looking at going forward? Or was it just the fact they played Newcastle who just gave up? Because, Newcastle will put up stiff opposition, but once they go a couple of goals behind, they'll just give up the ghost.
Yeah, exactly, because they know they're not going to fucking be able to pull it back.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, that brings us to the end of the drunk tank, and that allows me to sneak a couple of questions in as well. And again, it kind of goes back to one of the earlier questions that we had, and it was relating to, do you jump off Aguero? I think it was Tom Moriarty's question, what do I do with Aguero now? So I'm sitting there without Aguero, but I do have Aubameyang and Jamie Vardy. And this week, my gut says, well, not my gut, but maybe it's my head, says Jamie Vardy to Jimenez. Jamie Vardy to Man City, not on form.
Yeah.
Jimenez at home to Norwich. It looks like a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
But next week,
Jamie
Vardy's away. No, but next week Jamie Vardy's against Norwich, so I've gotten rid of him.
Yeah, and Aubameyang
blanks.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit torn. I'm going is it? To be honest with you, like I said, my head says this.
How much value are you going to lose
this.
in Vardy?
I lose about 0.3 million, but I'm not worried about value. It's about whether it's the right decision. And what I'm thinking is, all season I've been trying to stay ahead of the game, making decisions where if I just stuck with what I had a little bit longer, not in every situation. I mean, getting off Sterling was a massive highlight for me this year. It did not bite me in the ass, rarely, but other decisions have, and Jimenez, is probably one of the more recent ones. And now I'm thinking, Vardy has got such a nice run of fixtures after game week 27. So after their match against City, he's got away to Norwich, at home to Villa, away to Watford, and at home to Brighton. They're pretty fucking nice fixtures.
They're savage fixtures.
Yeah. So I'm already, thinking to myself, if I get rid of him now, he's going to turn this around at some stage. Just by sheer law of average, he's going to have to get something.
You'd expect it to. I mean, I don't think he's going to go back to those kind of hauls he was getting where he's going to be getting 15, 20 points and stuff like that. I don't think he's going to be getting too many double-digit hauls.
Do you think Leicester as a team are looking weaker now?
They're definitely looking weaker. I mean, the thing about Jamie Vardy is when he's not really involved in the game, so he only comes alive when he's scoring goals.
Yeah.
So he's not like he's getting like 40 touches of the ball a game. He's getting 15 to 20 touches of the ball a game a lot of time. But it's one touch, shot, goal.
Yeah.
Or one touch, miss goal. So I think he will end up getting points, and I think he will revert to his average. I think he was overperforming. I think he's been underperforming recently, and he's kind of now back at the mean.
Yeah.
And I think he will, with the fixtures picking up, improve. But Leicester have looked kind of poor. They kept a clean sheet now, so maybe having kept a clean sheet against Wolves, maybe they can build on that. And I think, as I said, there might be one good win away from going on a bit of a run. I'm not going to double it, let's get Vardy, let's get Maddison, let's get Pereira. But I'm going to say that I think I'm going to go from Game Week 28, I'm going to go Aguero to Vardy myself, personally. I think he's a good option to go for, just going on the fixtures because we know his pedigree.
Yeah, so you're actually going to Vardy. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think so.
So the too long don't read version of it is basically you'd go Aubameyang out over Vardy out.
But this week, Aubameyang against Everton seems...
But coming into a blank. Aubameyang against Everton or Jimenez against Norwich.
Yeah, but it's coming into... See, if anyone's going to score against City, it's going to be Vardy, you would think.
I'm not talking about Vardy, I'm talking about Aubameyang.
Oh, yes, but no, I'm just talking about... They're your two options. So, if Man City are going to concede to Leicester, you're going to think it's going to be Vardy.
I think it was Harvey Barnes.
But the Arsenal problem is coming back to what I said about Jimenez a few weeks ago against Southampton. Get off him a week early at your peril.
At your peril.
You know?
Do you think Everton are that easy for Arsenal to push aside?
No, I think Everton actually are going to be one of the form teams between now and the end of the season. Actually, them and I don't know about Spurs. I think Arsenal and Everton are the teams I'm going to be looking at closely towards the end of the season, because I think with the new managers, I think they've got into a style. And you remember how well Everton finished last season?
Yeah.
With Carlo Ancelotti now at the helm, I think someone like Digne, Richarlison, despite their terrible fixtures, could reward managers. I just don't think I've got the balls to fucking go in them myself.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see.
So I think they will trouble the likes of Arsenal. And in this most recent game week, Aubameyang was back on the left, even with Lacazette on the bench. They had Nketiah up front. And Martinelli actually was my puck fodder last week. Didn't fucking play.
Yeah. I was actually surprised to see, you call him Nketiah. I don't know how it's pronounced. I think that might be it.
Some people pronounce it necktie.
Necktie. Okay, well, maybe if you're dyslexic, but he was a bit of a shock this week to see him starting up front, and hit the bar. I don't know, did he score? I don't think he did score.
I thought he scored.
Aubameyang got one, Lacazette got one.
He hit the bar.
He definitely hit the bar. But I know. Look, I don't give a shit. I'm not even going to bother looking it up. Either way,
Pepe, Aubameyang, Ozil, Lacazette.
Yeah, so he didn't score. He should have scored though, and it'll be interesting. But it was a bit of a shock to see Martinelli rested. But look, that's the drunk tag done. I even managed to sneak a little personal question in myself. It's left me none the wiser. So now I know how everyone listening to this feels. But we would like to thank you for your questions nonetheless. And we're not going to touch on the FPL Hangover podcast mini league this week because the week's not over yet. And there are members there with Aguero captain, and we're just not going to shit in them. We want to wait until game week 27 is finished. Episode 73 is going to be recorded, and we will give you all of the mini league updates then. But before we leave you folks, we are going to do some balls to the wall. Slightly different though this week. As I said, game week 26 is still not completely finished, so we're not going to calculate whether Seamus or myself won last week just yet, because Aguero is in play and Man City are active, so we don't want to be spoiling or tainting any results. But we do want to look ahead to game week 27, and we are going to look on what our picks are for next week, Seamus.
That's true. We can't discuss last week's puck fadas and breach sheets, so those have been decided.
You want to go through them? I don't mind, yeah. Bait them out. Puck fadas.
Puck fadas.
You did.
Do you remember who you went? There's no way you can remember. I went with Martinelli.
Okay, let me guess.
Didn't play a minute, so I got 0 points. No, so it doesn't matter. As long as somebody just didn't get sent off, you're going to win.
Alright, so Chris Wood is what's in
No, you went with Bergwijn.
Bergwijn.
Yeah,
oh,
it's a good. There was a good 50% chance it was going to be Chris Wood or Deulofeu.
Yeah, considering my past, my historic
Seeing
preferences.
They have been about 8 of your previous 22 picks.
Who's winning, bitch? No, I went with Bergwijn, so I did win. 2 points.
He got 2 points,
I'll
2 points, and he would have had an assist in fairness as well had Son been
taken
able
a decent penalty,
score the penalty. Yeah, so 2 points beats it. So you win there in the puck fadas. That's a sickening one. But I did win in the green sheets in also a sickening manner with my Egan pick, which lost his clean sheet but got an assist and 1 single bonus point for 6 points.
A bap on his head, it was crowned.
Yeah, and you backed your own keeper, the man who concedes from corners.
He
McCarthy.
fucking puts, apologies that he put his faith in the guy on the near post. Why would a keeper ever do that? Yeah, no. Fucking Danny Ings obviously had something to gain from losing a clean sheet, and I want this investigated. But no one ever listens to me. So we'll move on.
Those were last week's. With the hot shots, you are ahead currently. You have Aubameyang and Aguero. I have Salah, who did nothing. Obviously, Aubameyang did 8 points. And KDB. So really it will come down to if KDB can outscore Aguero by more than 5 points. And personally, I really hope Aguero outscores KDB by more than 5 points.
Sir, I'll have to disagree with you. I'm the complete opposite. Hopefully, KDB wins you your hot shots. And Aguero...
No. I must insist that you win this week.
You go ahead, sir. You are first. Yes. No. But looking for this week's picks, Seamus.
Yeah. You have first pick, and I think you stole my first pick from last week, which didn't do me a whole lot of good.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, you accidentally thought you were first pick this week and gave me the idea, so it didn't take much to really deliberate over. And yeah, I went with King Mo himself, as you said, at home to West Ham. It'll be hard to not captain him in that match, especially because there's no Champions League next week.
Yeah.
Liverpool are in Madrid, so
What do you have? 14 points ahead with him in Gameweek 24 or something like that.
Something
they last
like
played
that.
him in the double. I think it was 14 points he got in that particular game.
West Ham are looking no fucking great shape, and I don't think it takes a genius to figure out that he's going to be the most captained player in Game Week 27.
Yeah, I think
regardless. So yeah, he's my pick number 1, but that does give you pick 2 and 3.
Yeah, and I have gone for, again, I've stuck with Liverpool, and I've gone for Mane. Last week when I had first pick, again I went with Salah. The reason being why I picked him last week, but I went with actually Aguero as my captain, is because I changed my mind midweek.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
at the time when we did these picks 2 weeks ago, I thought Salah was the best pick. So yeah, I think this week, now that Mane is back and fit, I'm going to go with Mane.
Fair
barring any Champions League injuries.
Oh, that's the cat knocking over a glass.
Almost knocking over a glass.
Yeah, always likes to.
My second pick is not the cat. It's Danny Ings.
You'd pick the cat if you could.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
But he's not. He's not no good now at football.
Danny Dingaling Ings.
Danny Ings. Yeah.
Happy to see him score this week. I was.
Yeah,
I think
outside
he's
the
my
box for a
first, my first Danny Ings goal.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? When he scores a goal, you're like, oh, he always gets a bonus as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I was hoping to get to 3 when
they
it
did
was
lose.
1-1. They did lose, but when it was 1-1, I was like, you know what? Maybe old Dingaling himself is going to come good. And I was happy to see 7 points. It was very much a lucky number 11 week for me. But you're expecting him to continue his run of form?
I think so. Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, he would be a nice armband option this week.
Yeah, well,
personally,
do that instead of Liverpool at home to West Ham, and we can discuss that in the next episode, and it'll be great crack.
I might. I'm not sure.
You
but
don't have the
your
cojones.
your fourth pick was the other player I was thinking of instead of Ings.
Yeah, we've been talking
Without
about
consultation.
I don't even need for you to remind me here. It's weird. Like, you know me, my memory is shit. But I know exactly who the 4 pick is because we've been talking about him for like fucking 55 minutes. Raul Jimenez.
Yeah.
Easy pick. Norwich.
Some man for the one man.
He's some man for the one man, and it's something I'd love to do is kind of do an offshoot episode where we discuss how FPL has affected our FIFA careers. But I know currently I have Raul Jimenez in my FIFA career mode, and yeah, he's nailing it. He's a top scorer. He's on
god.
He's a golden god. He's on cue for golden boot. And if I've learned anything from FPL, it's that FIFA is a very accurate predictor of future results. But it is Breen sheets to contend with. Yes, Seamus.
Breen sheets and puck fighters. We'll start with the Breen sheets. So, I won last week with my Egan pick, so I first picked this week.
You've already bragged.
I'm gone for Willie Bolly, the man with the best name in the Premier League, second only to who?
I said Christian Fox, but I think I was just being a child.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it's head to head.
It is.
We're going to put that up on our page this week. Who has got the best name in FPL? Is it Christian Fuchs or Fox?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Fuchs.
Well, it's Fuchs.
Is it Christian Fuchs or is it Willie Bolly?
Well, if you
I'm a big fan of Willie Bolly.
If you say it properly, then Christian Fuchs is not going to win. I mean, you have to put the emphasis on the Fox.
We'll let
bit.
the listeners decide.
Fair enough. I mean, look, I'm not dying on this Christian Fox hill, just so you know. But Willy Bolly does have a pretty savage name, especially because it'd be a good cocktail.
Yeah.
Give me a Willy Bolly.
That's the way you can say it. Willy Bolly!
You can say it like that too. You could order 2
That's the only way I say it.
2 Willy Bolly, please.
Willy Bolly!
Yeah. No, it's perfect.
No, I love it.
It's a good, solid
And
name.
he scored this week, only to have his goal disallowed.
Rightly so.
I feel that's why I have to go from this week, because I've been eyeing him up and I've been looking at him. I've been seeing people talking about him, and he scored, and I was like, oh god damn, he's actually gone and done it. And then he had it disallowed. I'm like, okay, well I got to get on him before he scores again.
Before he actually scores. So that's fair enough. Your pick for this week, Seamus, Roman Seiss, and my pick. This I have forgotten again. Oh yes, no I haven't. He's part of the clergy. He is coming all the way from Vatican City, Mr. Nick Pope. He has really He's really strived to piss me off since
Been
I got rid of
reborn.
him for McCarthy. Yeah, he's been reborn. Not so much this week. 2 points, I think.
Born again.
Possibly. I don't know. I'm not going to make...
I'm making Christian jokes here.
I'm not going to make Christian jokes, Seamus. I take people's religious faith very, very seriously. You know that. When I started this podcast, the first thing I outlined was how serious we were going to take people's belief in fairy tales. But moving on, I have gone with Nick Pope. I think he is... I mean, like, Burnley at fucking home to Bournemouth. I know Wilson, maybe we're about to see a bit of Callum Wilson renaissance, but fuck that. Bournemouth still look absolute dire to me.
I would bet against it.
Yeah, and Burnley kind of contradicting what I've already given you shit about saying in this episode, but yeah, they are picking their socks up a little bit. They're looking a bit better, and fuck it.
They're in form. That's the only way you can say it is they're in form. Why would you bet against a team that's in form?
And let's just say, for the record, Nick Pope is also a pretty good name.
Yeah, and he's at home. Yeah.
No, so
Pope
that's
saves.
my Pope saves. Exactly.
Actually, going on to our puck fadas here, my pick is a Burnley player as well. It's Jay Rodriguez.
Is your puck fada a Burnley player as well? Oh no, that's my breach sheet.
That was your breach sheet. No,
yes.
my puck fada is Jay Rodriguez. With Chris Wood a doubt after going off injured in this most recent game week. Vidra came on and scored, but Jay Rodriguez has been playing really well lately and scored a cracker against United, if you can recall that game. And he's
Rodriguez
only 0.3% owned.
He's been on my watch list for several... I mean, you could go as far as to say like several seasons now, because he's always been on the edge of becoming like an actual option, a really good option.
He's got a run of games now, though.
Yeah, he has, and he's looked really well for the last couple of weeks. I do like it. Wood is out injured. Barnes has been out for a couple of weeks now as well. So yeah, I think Rodriguez is a pretty solid pick. So looking at my green sheet and your puck fada, we're going heavy on Burnley this week, and I don't think anyone could really give us much shit for that.
It's the classic bet against Bournemouth, who are shite.
Yeah. So Seamus, I've gone with... Are we doing my puck fada now?
Yeah, your puck fada.
I've gone with James Ward-Prowse, JWP himself. I think he's back. He shook off that injury he picked up a couple of weeks ago. I don't even know if that kept him out for long. I don't think it did. There was a bit of a break.
Missed again.
But he's back. Southampton are against Villa. We've already discussed the merits of Southampton's attack, and more so Villa's potency for conceding.
Yeah, and he's on set pieces.
Yes.
He seems to be. I assume he's still on penalties, and he's back. Importantly, he's back playing in centre midfield instead of playing right back. Now that they've got Kyle Walker-Peters signed from the Spurs, he's actually playing midfield, so he's more forward, more likely to score. And would I be right in saying that someone like Nathan Redmond might have been a player you might have looked at this week if he hadn't got injured?
If he hadn't got injured in the training session or whatever before the match against Burnley, Redmond would be very much in my watch list. He was creeping up quickly, but he is out now, and I'm looking at Gameweek 27 and Southampton versus Villa. Looks like there could be a lot of goals. There could be a good few goals in that match.
I also like Armstrong for Southampton. He's being a player like in draft. I actually signed Redmond in draft, I think this week, which was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, not knowing he was injured.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of crap players. I think I had for Pulisic or something like that. And now I'm looking to try and see if I can get on Armstrong, because he's been playing very well lately. And Southampton attacking wise look pretty good.
Seamus, you can get on anybody that you put your mind to. That's something I've always said.
Get on the toilet? Because I'm about to wet myself.
Before you go, you do need to tell us your green sheet, because I believe you have...
No, we did that.
Did you do that?
Yeah, Willy Bolly.
We did a whole thing. Yeah, we did. We'll just do it again.
You just want me to wet myself, isn't that it? You're just trying to keep me talking here, so I can't go toilet.
Right, we'll wrap it up. Now I'm going to do 0.5 speed. No, I'm just joking, Seamus. We will wrap it up quickly. I want to thank everyone for listening, everyone that's sending questions. You are all amazing. Anyone that does want to reach out to us, you can get us on Gmail at fplhangover@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on Twitter at FPL Hangover. There's a lot of shit going on there. We're in various competitions. We're going to actually have to do some updates on that stuff pretty soon. But I would like to thank you all for listening. Seamus, you're also on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm at FPL Drunk.
Enjoy Game Week 27 and the rest of Game Week 26.
May your hours be green.
God bless.